We've got a box sweeper pickup broom by GIYI. GIYI, GIYI, I don't know. Which one is it supposed to be? Super economical little pickup broom for the mini skid steer here. Quick take a look around. Very simple. You just have a pivot point. There is no hydraulic ram for lifting this up. So after you're done, you'll just tilt it forward. The broom itself will swing forward. You'll dump everything out below. If we look underneath, we've got a pretty nice little brush and a good sized bucket. Very simple. You just got a direct drive hydraulic motor, and on the other side, just carrier bearing. These never come with grease, and usually these are loose. Yep, just like that. So first thing, before we do anything, we are going to put grease in the bearing. There is an adjustment, just a basic, probably grade 1 bolt, and you can raise and lower the depth. So it looks pretty high right now. We'll probably lower it down a little bit because I don't want to scrape the bucket on my brand new concrete. I want this broom to be touching the ground. So I think first things first, let's adjust this down, get the broom brushes closer to the ground, and let's put grease in this bearing. Let's fire this thing up. We've been making a mess of my big, beautiful barn, and dirt is always kind of hard to see on the camera, but trust me, it is filthy. So, can our mini skid steer with this cheap Chinese sweeper bucket, can we clean it up? Let's try it out. Upon first look, it looks pretty bad, but I could quickly hit this with a leaf blower, and this is really fine material that it's not picking up. This is like very, very soft dirt. So, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose, right? If we're gonna have an attachment, shouldn't it do all of these things? And I've got a couple ideas on how I think I can make this better, so stick with me. First try, it did okay. We have some adjusting to do, and I don't think that I brought the brush down far enough, but you saw how big those chunks were before, and there's definitely dust left behind, but at this point I could just blow all this off with the leaf blower. All right, so I adjusted this bolt down a little bit further, and hopefully this shows up really well. There's a very tight adjustment of getting this brush to touch the ground, but also to where it's not bending up. You want it to just be barely touching the ground like this. So couple adjustments to this so that we're getting the bucket nice and flat on the ground and the bristles are touching the ground. So let's keep going. try number 2, or is this 3? I don't know. Let's go. Here is our handiwork. You saw it. It was just one forward, one back. This was very fine dirt, and I specifically stopped in a few areas. You can see just how much dirt was there, and I'll dump the bucket and show how much dirt is in there too. But this is with those adjustments. We made a couple small adjustments and definitely picking up a lot better. Here you can see a pretty big downside. The bucket, sweeper, everything combined is pretty much the max capacity of the little skid steer that I have. So as I was going to dump it, it got tippy and dumped some of the dirt out. But on the positive note, that means that the sweeper is picking up all of this dirt, and I just showed you how much we just dumped, but unfortunately now I have to go over this again and pick it up because it was too heavy, tipped over, and we made a mess. I'm not sure if you can really see it on the camera. It's really hopping, and it's because you need to get the brush down on the ground low enough so that it is picking up all the dirt. But because it's a mini attachment, it's not heavy enough to stay down, so it's really hopping. And I'm not sure if you can really solve that easily with this unit, but let's try a couple more things and keep going. Okay, with some further adjustment, it is picking up. You see these two rows compared to the previous ones. Getting the bucket just right, adjusting down the brush to where it's barely touching but not causing too much hop. It is picking up a lot more. You saw all of the dirt that I dumped out after just 2 passes, but the bucket is smashing into my brand new concrete and taking out chunks of it, which I don't like. So I'm not going to keep using it in here. This was really expensive. This is less than a month old, and I don't want to be taking out chunks here. Let's move back up to the bucket and take a closer look at it. Here is the bottom of the bucket, and it almost has like a cutting back blade on it, and this is what keeps catching. That's a full 90-degree sharp angle, which is part of what is catching on the concrete. The front edge is pretty sharp as well. I think a very quick and fast problem solving would be bolt on a really hard plastic or rubber cutting edge that would be rounded on each side. You're dragging this, and this is dragging rocks, and it's probably hard to see in the camera, but again, this is brand new concrete and it's dragging rocks across it. It's scratching everything up. So before I used it anymore, I would put a new I would call it a float edge and make that a really hard rubber or plastic with, again, rounded edges, because this is really digging in. Call that a design flaw there. It is picking up dirt. That's all better than a push broom, but I think we're doing too much damage to the concrete for my liking. Now, if you're out on old concrete or your old asphalt driveway, maybe this doesn't matter, but it's really catching on everything and scratching everything up. So I'm not going to go any farther with this. I think we've done enough. Here it is outside on the very rough old asphalt. You can see right where I stopped, and this is probably a better side to see the difference between one pass and not. I'm hoping this is coming through the camera to see, how dirty and everything it is. So this is a pretty good pass. This is one single pass. Over here you can see where I stopped. So it is trying to pick up more, and I found this to be an issue. I've tried adjusting the bucket and the angle and everything, and you just tend to keep dragging a pile with you. Not the end of the world, because you can keep, pushing it onto the next side. Here's kind of a better view of one pass versus what it looked like before. So overall, pretty good. Dust is always something that's hard to see when you're using this broom. There's no dew out right now. It's pretty low humidity. This is very fine dust, but it is still kicking up quite a bit of it. Benefit of a push broom versus a pickup broom, or opposite, pickup broom, is you are supposed to be putting it all in the bucket. And you saw some of the piles that we dumped out. It is doing that. It is picking up a fair amount of dirt. I think there's limitations to this. You just don't have enough weight with this machine. You also don't have enough weight on the front of this to keep it from hopping around. For these reasons, on a small mini, I think a push broom is going to be your better solution. Push it all into a pile quickly. You can dig the broom itself into the ground a little bit harder. It's not going to hop. The only reason that this thing hops is because it free swivels, and it has to free swivel so that you're able to dump it. But if this was permanently affixed, you could dig that
broom, the bristles, into the ground a little bit harder without it hopping, and I think it would do a great job. I would call this job okay.
Definitely better on the asphalt rough that you don't care about as much versus inside the nice smooth concrete. It was scratching it up. It was catching on all of the little seams and stuff. I would not use it in there anymore. So I'm struggling. This is my first mini attachment review, and it's so hard to go from a big, really nice machine to the mini. So I'm trying to take that into account. Let me know if you think I'm being too harsh. I think I'm gonna give it 1 thumb down. I was really on the fence on this one. It does have some use. If it was just outside in the asphalt, I'd give it 1 thumbs up. I think with a couple minor changes, like mostly that cutting edge going to like a hard rubber, I think you could quickly make this 1 thumbs up. But the reason I'm going to stick with a 1 thumbs down is I just think there's too many limitations with a mini, and it's just too heavy. You're losing so much of its usability with the weight and how tippy it is. So let's stick with that. Let me know, am I being too harsh? What would you recommend? Let me know in the comments. I got a bunch more minis coming up. Thank you for watching.